The Mission to Transition by Caitlin Juvrid. Future veterans. The majority of military members struggle to transition into civilian life from the moment after boot camp. As you are a Marine now, eventually you will be a veteran no matter what. Thinking about this now may seem silly in the sense that you just began your military career. However, you find very quickly as you go on 10-day leave back home that you have changed and society has changed even in just 3 months. The transition starts now. As a Marine, you may get overwhelmed when experiencing something which may seem out of the ordinary, but in reality, most new Marines experience it. I'm warning you now to watch out for these things. Everyone comes out of the Marines with a certain degree of PTSD, whether deployed or not. Every time Marines go back home or have a few days leave, they will face reintegration. Not as harsh as when your service period comes to an end, but reintegration nonetheless. PTSD, independence, difficulty with social interactions, money management, and making decisions are all going to be a struggle Marines will face now or eventually. Here are just a few veteran statistics to help showcase the struggle veterans face. On average, in the areas of Chicago, San Francisco, Orange County, and Los Angeles, 65% of service members found transitioning to life outside of their service difficult. 74% did not have a job when he or she left the military. 35% gotten themselves into financial troubles. 46% did not have permanent housing or a place to live. 46% screened positive for PTSD, not including those who screened positive for other mental health disorders. 57% screened positive for probable alcohol consumption issue, again, not including other substances being abused. 18% planned to attempt suicide. 40% considered attempting suicide but has not received treatment. 39% screened positive for physical health problems but did not seek treatment. All of these statistics are and should be overwhelmingly depressing. As time goes on and on, eventually you do have to completely reintegrate into society. These are what veterans are facing today in the real world according to VA studies and experts. This is a list of a few signs and symptoms of PTSD you can watch for in order to determine if you may have PTSD. Efforts to avoid thoughts, avoids activities, poor memory, anhedonia, feeling detached, feeling flat, sense of a foreshortened future, flashbacks, difficulty with sleep, irritability, outbursts of anger, hypervigilance, difficulty concentrating, exaggerated startle response, and intrusive thoughts. I am calling you, new Marines, don't fall into these statistics of veterans. Be the Marines who overcome. Here are a few steps you can take to achieve a higher likelihood of success out of the Marine Corps. 1. Utilize your support system. 2. Keep in contact with fellow Marines. Confide in one another. 3. Share your experiences anonymously. 4. Report any harassment and abuse. 5. Take advantage of the resources offered by the VA and other military programs. 6. Transition your mission. Step 1. Utilize your support system. This includes friends, family, spouse, religious acquaintances, parents, siblings, cousins, children, grandparents, and all of the above. Step 2. Rely on fellow Marines. Another form of utilizing your support system. Get your fellow Marines' contact information to stay in touch post-boot camp. Teamwork. Teamwork is taught religiously throughout boot camp. You have worked weeks upon weeks building a strong foundation of trust, communication, and leadership skills amongst each other. As you adjust to life outside of boot camp, continue working as a team in it together, a brotherhood. Step 3. Share your experiences. Sharing your experiences is beneficial to your mental health no matter what. However, sometimes it may feel like nobody understands what you've been through. Speaking to a fellow military member or veteran who has experienced similar things as you has been found to help many military members. Call this number whenever, even if it's just to talk. If you don't share your experiences, you are at a higher risk of becoming mentally unstable. Call the hotline number 800-273-8255. Sexual assault and harassment exists in the Marines and military as well. This is an example of how someone didn't share their experience nor report their abuse and how it affected him. The New York Times released an emotional article of information from veterans who were interviewed and willing to share their story. This is just one. Mr. Lloyd joined the Army National Guard at 17 when he was assaulted in the shower one night after everyone else had gone to bed. He told no one. Mr. Lloyd was raped in 2007. The tiniest reminders trigger him and send him deep into depression, anxiety, or panic attacks. He speaks out to say how he, quote-unquote, couldn't say anything, and that I would look like a total failure. He was embarrassed. Because he didn't report his abuse earlier, there was no justice, no sense of understanding, and no one to help him because no one knew what had happened. In no way is this rape his fault, and there is no changing him and his PTSD from this traumatic event. However, he could have been better served by his family, military, and the law by reporting it. From the same article in the New York Times, it states, more than 100,000 men have been sexually assaulted in the military in recent decades. Shame and stigma kept the vast majority from coming forward to report the attacks. Here are some ways you can report abuse or harassment in the Marine Corps. First, read your rights. Know your rights. You have rights. According to the official Marine Corps website, all uniformed service members, DoD, civilian employees, and any other individual who observes or has personal knowledge of prohibited activities and conduct occurring in or with a nexus to the Marine Corps workspace are encouraged to identify and report such under this order to the extent required by law. The Marine Corps website also states, a complaint may be submitted orally or in writing to the commanding officer or other person in charge of the organization or to the person the commanding officer has designated to receive such complaints. Read your rights. Contact supervisor or the supervisor's supervisor or the supervisor's supervisor. Use Military OneSource for legal assistance if need be. Any and all harassment can be reported and should be reported. Sexual harassment can include inappropriate jokes, physical acts, suggestive behavior, etc. If it feels wrong, it probably is wrong. Report it. It does not get you in trouble, and it can be anonymous if you want your identity to be protected. This is a list of resources accessible through military programs and the VA, which you should take advantage of. Read and keep the brochures given to you throughout your military career. These are valuable resources of which can be utilized to your own advantage as you transition into civilian life. There are so many programs willing and wanting to help you, so take advantage. Step 6. Remember your mission. Your mission is to transition. All of the steps and resources mentioned, if utilized early on, will make transitioning easier every time and prepare you for the complete transition after your service has ended. Hold yourself accountable and hold your fellow Marines accountable. It is your mission when you are home to utilize any and every aid possible for not only yourself, but your family, your friends, and your loved ones. Your orders in the military no longer pertain to you when you are home. The mission is now to be just as beneficial in society as you were when you were protecting America. Thank you for listening.